Good morning, children. Hope you all are fine. In our last class, we were discussing the properties of solid, liquid, and gases. So today we are going to continue that. Uh, so first, we are going to discuss fluidity in these three states of matter. So properties of solid, liquid, and gas. Fluidity. So let us know what is fluidity. The capacity or the uh, property of any substance to flow, that is called fluidity. So if we keep any liquid or gas in a container, and if that liquid or gas if we uh, try to just keep it out of the container, then it will flow. The liquid or gas will flow. So this is the property, uh, the fluidity. Because of this property, we will see the flow of the liquid or gas. But in solid, fluidity is not possible, as we know that in solid particles, the molecules of solid, they are very rigid. They have very high intermolecular force of attraction between them. That's why for fluidity, the particles should have very less intermolecular force of attraction. If intermolecular force of attraction will be more in the particles, then because of this attractive force, the particles will remain in means the attractive force will keep them together, so they cannot flow easily. That's why fluidity is not possible in solid matter. Okay, any matter which is solid, there we cannot uh, see this fluidity property. But in liquid and gas, as in these two states of matter, we can see less intermolecular force of attraction, so fluidity is possible for this too. So for solid it is not possible. For liquid it can flow, so we can see fluidity in them, and gaseous substances also can flow. But as we know that in gaseous substances, uh, intermolecular force of attraction is least. That's why fluidity we can see maximum in gaseous substances, in gaseous state, whereas for liquid the fluidity will be less than that of gas. Okay, next we have compressibility. This is compressibility. So what is that? If we apply pressure in any matter, if we apply pressure from both sides or from all the sides, then we are actually compressing, we are trying to compress the matter. Okay, so this, let us try to do that for a solid substance. If we compress, if we apply pressure from different sides of that solid particles, say a wooden box or a piece of coal or a iron block or whatever, a solid sample or solid substance, it's not easy to compress it. Okay, we can try hard to push it from both the side, but as it is a as the particles are very rigid, it's having a very uh, uh, proper structure or rigid structure. The particles are in closely packed manner, so the particles cannot move. Okay, they will not leave the space, and because of high intermolecular force of attraction, they will remain there at their position, and we cannot move them. We cannot move the particles of a solid. So compressibility is not possible, or it's very difficult to compress a solid. Now for a liquid, what will be the compressibility? If we try to, as we know that in liquid particles, the particles can move easily because of less intermolecular force of attraction. So if we try to compress them, and as in between the particles lot of intermolecular space is there, space is available, so the because of this compressibility, the particles will come closer, and there will be, then after compression the particles will come closer, and the intermolecular space will become less then. Okay, so for liquid, compressibility is possible. It's liquid can be compressed, whereas for gaseous substances even compressibility will be more than the liquid, because in gaseous substances more intermolecular space is available, so we can compress it more. So highest compressibility we can observe in gaseous substances, whereas in liquid we can observe moderate compressibility, and in solid it's very tough to compress, though by applying a high amount of pressure, a huge pressure, if we apply, then solid particles or solid substances also can be compressed. Okay, but this compressibility or this compression of the solid substances are not easy. So we can say that if we apply general pressure or moderate pressure, then for solid compressibility is not possible. So for liquid and gases we can see, we can observe compressibility, but for solid we cannot get that easily. Okay, next we will discuss rigidity. This is just opposite to this compressibility. Rigidity. Okay, how much rigid a substance, how much intact the structure of a substance, that is called rigidity. If we use this term, if we say a substance is very rigid, that means we cannot deform it easily, we cannot change its structure easily. This we can see, we can observe this in solid substances, as solid particles or the molecules in the solid are very closely packed, so it's very tough to deform it. It's very tough to change the structure of a solid substance. Okay, if we apply pressure, then also it's very tough to do that. Okay, so this just opposite thing we can observe in rigidity and compressibility, as we have learned that in solid compressibility is not possible, so rigidity will be just opposite to that. That means solids are very rigid. Solid substances are rigid. Okay, they will not change their shape easily, so it is highly rigid, we can say. Next, for liquid, as the particles are having less intermolecular force of attraction in them, and and in between them the gap is high, high intermolecular space is available in liquid, so rigidity is less in liquid. That means easily we can deform a liquid. So this how we can observe. We can do a very simple experiment. The water bottles which we use, if we the normal water bottles, it may be made of plastic. Okay, so if let us fill water in it and try to compress it. Okay, so this the PET bottles and all, so if we try to compress them, if we apply pressure from both the sides, then we can deform the bottle. That means along with the bottle we are deforming the liquid present inside the bottle. That means liquid can be compressed and rigidity is not possible, or rigidity is very less in liquid. That means we can deform the shape of the liquid easily. So in liquid it is less rigid, we can say. Rigidity is less in liquid, whereas for gases rigidity will be even less than the liquid. Okay, as gaseous substances are having very less intermolecular force of attraction, and they have high intermolecular space, so easily we can deform the shape of the gaseous substances. So this we can do with a inflated balloon. If we just apply pressure on it, or if we hold it with some pressure, then easily we can deform the balloon. That means rigidity is very less in gaseous substances. So for rigidity we can say in solid it is highly rigid. The gaseous state, that is less rigid than the solid substances, whereas in gaseous substances we will see very negligible rigidity, as the gaseous substances have very less intermolecular force of attraction and high intermolecular space. Next we will talk about the kinetic energy. So let us discuss first what is kinetic energy. Kinetic, this term is related to any substance which is movable. Any moving substance, because of its movement, it will possess some energy, that is called kinetic energy. This term kinetic refers to the movement of any substance. Kinetic energy. So kinetic means motion. Any substance which is in moving condition, because of its moving condition, it's because of its motion, it contains some energy, it possesses some energy, which is called kinetic energy. Now this kinetic energy is directly related to the motion of the particles, and this motion of the particles are again directly related to the intermolecular force of attraction. If intermolecular force of attraction in between the particles will be high, then it can be easily we can say that kinetic energy will be, means the motion of the particles will be less, and that as motion of the particles are less, so kinetic energy of the particle will be less. Okay, so this we will see the highest motion, or the less intermolecular force of attraction we can observe in gaseous substances. So for solid, let us write this for solid, liquid and gas. Solid, liquid and gas. We know as in solid substances the molecules are in highly congested manner because of the high intermolecular force of attraction, and as the force of attraction is maximum in solid, so the motion or the movement of the particles will be very less, so kinetic energy is least in solid. Okay, in solid its kinetic energy is very less. Okay, though it's having some kinetic energy, but the value is very uh, less. Okay, next if we talk about the liquid, as the liquid particles as they are having less intermolecular force of attraction, so the particles can move, and as the particles can move, so liquid possesses some kinetic energy. Okay, so in liquid the kinetic energy will be higher than that of the solid. Okay, in liquid the kinetic energy will be higher than that of the solid. Next we will talk about the gas. So in liquid, as the motion of the particles are higher than that of the solid, so liquid is having higher kinetic energy than that of the solid. Okay, now for gaseous substances, as the particles of gases, they are having high motion, they are always in random motion, always in moving position, so they are having highest kinetic energy. So in gaseous substances kinetic energy will be highest. Okay, so for solid kinetic energy will be least, for liquid it will be higher than that of the solid, and in gaseous substances kinetic energy is highest. Okay, so this was the property, these were the property of solid, liquid and gases. Next we will talk about the interconversion of state of matter. So what is interconversion of the states of matter? From this term only you can guess a bit what is that. Interconversion of state means from one state to another we can convert, and again we can come back to the original state. Okay, that means interconversion of state of matter in between the state when the there will be some conversion or there will be some changes, then we will call it as interconversion of state. Okay, interconversion of state of matter. Interconversion of state of matter. So we have generally three states. One is solid, another is liquid, another is gas. Okay, solid, liquid and gas, these three states we have. Now if anyhow we can change the solid state to liquid state, and again the liquid state, if it can come back to the solid state again, then this transformation or this conversion will be called interconversion. Again the liquid state can be converted to gaseous state, and again it can come back to the liquid state again. So this interchange or this conversion is called interconversion of state of matter. Okay, now let us see by which we can interconvert the different states of matter. There are two possibilities or two ways are there by which we can interconvert the states. Number one is heating, or by applying heat. Okay, by applying heat, or by heating, or by changing the temperature. Okay, this will be better because we can use heating as well as cooling. So here we are heating or cooling. This we can do, that means change of temperature. If we change the temperature, then we can change the state. Change of temperature, and number two, change in pressure or change of pressure. If we apply pressure or if we release pressure, then also the states can be changed. So first we are going to discuss the change of temperature, by which how we can change the by changing the temperature, how we can change the state of the matter. Okay, so let us do that. So if we take an example, a very common example which we have of this three state. For solid we can take the example of the water, the three forms of water which we can take. That is, for solid we can take the example of ice, for liquid it's water, and for gaseous substances it will be water vapor. It's water vapor. Okay, ice, water and water vapor. So ice represents the state of the solid state, water represent liquid state, and the water vapor is representing the gaseous state. Now if we heat ice, if we apply heat, or if we just keep the ice in if we keep the ice in just in open, then it will, after some time, it will melt and it will convert to water. The same thing happens if we heat water. If we heat water, it starts boiling, and after that, after more heating, we can get the water vapor from this. Okay, now we can come back to the original form again, means we can just interconvert it, the water vapor to water, by using the opposite technique. That means from water to water vapor, we have to heat it. We have to heat the water, and if we want to get back the water again from water vapor, then we have to cool it down. So cooling will be the process. So heating and cooling, using these two opposite process, we can interchange the state. Okay, again for water ice conversion, we can do the same. Ice by heating can be converted to water, and again if we cool down the water, that means if we freeze it, then water will convert to ice. Okay, so in this manner we can interchange the three states of water. Okay, so today up to this, next day taking some more example, we will discuss this part. Okay, and the other topics which are there, other units which are there, that also we are going to discuss in the next class. Okay, till then you go through this and solve the worksheet.